I fired up one called A Change in the Weather by Andrew Plotkin, and it clearly was an independent effort. It wasn't for commercial release. It hadn't been test driven by marketing division or anything like that. I poked around with a couple of the other games, and I thought, so you just sit down and program one of these yourself. That might be worth giving a try too. Yeah, I mean, let's take this medium for a spin and see what you can do with it. You know, the medium of interactive fiction was on my mind, and so as I read books, watched movies, and so forth, you know, naturally those would start to, you know, trigger ideas for, you know, various projects that I might like to take a go at. You know, I was always thinking about IF projects and things that I could do. I was actually working on one at the time. I was working on Varicella. I had been working on that for about a couple of months when I, you know, just to, you know, check it out, went to the movie theater and saw The Sweet Hereafter because, you know, it seemed intriguing. I'd read some good reviews, didn't really know what to expect. And when I walked out of The Sweet Hereafter, I thought, you know, I don't really feel like continuing right now to work on Varicella with its lots and lots and lots of problem solving. You know, I would like to work on something that, you know, ideally would come out being, you know, literary and beautiful and lyrical and poetic and all that other good stuff. And if I had not just, you know, spent the last year or so just sort of soaking in the IF community, I don't know whether it would have occurred to me to try making an IF project out of this. I might well have tried some other medium. I might have thought, well, you know, can I write a book that does this? Can I come up with maybe a song or something? Perhaps interpretive dance. You know, because IF was on my mind, I naturally went there. Now, it's not as though I thought of a story and then said, okay, how can I adapt this for interactive fiction? I mean, interactive fiction was sort of my target medium before the elements of the story had even begun to coalesce. So, you know, a lot of people ask, well, why did you even bother to make this into IF? You know, you should have just written it as a short story because it's so linear and not really interactive and so forth. And, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that a lot of people do what I just described a minute ago and say, all right, I've got this idea for a story. Now, what would be the ideal medium for it? Should it be a graphical computer game? Should it be a play in which all of the dialogue is recited in iambic pentameter, or should it be a piece of classical music? You know, the target medium and the story are sort of, you know, born together. So it's not really as though I was adapting something that had any prior existence. You know, the story coalesced around the medium from the get-go. The way that I described it earlier when I said that, I walked out of the Sweet Hereafter and I wanted to, come up with something that was more literary and trying to be beautiful rather than something that's full of puzzles and trying to be a challenging game. It's not like I just sort of, made up a story trying to produce an emotional reaction. It's like when I thought about what is it that I have within myself to share with people, one of the things that I wanted to, try to evoke was the feeling of my own sister's death back, many years ago.
Sunday nights, nice for hospitals and homes, answering the phone. And what if I could take us both away from here, far away, my dear?
To the extent that people were moved by Allie's death, it wasn't just me saying, haha, score, I managed to produce this emotional effect. Look at what a master of the, literary arts I am. I did feel as though, I was sharing a pretty deep part of my emotional life with people.
Sunday nights are perfect when they're just the two of us.
The fact that Photopia and the medium of interactive fiction allowed me to do that in a way that a lot of other media couldn't is pretty significant when I think back about on the things that I've done, creatively speaking. And then as far as the more, philosophical and narratological aspects, absolutely one of the things that I was interested in was what can you do with this medium aside from solving puzzles? And a couple of things are, one, and this is more important where Photopia is concerned, is the idea of participation and complicity. Complicity especially vis-a-vis whether you can get out of the car at the beginning of the program. You may not actually save Allie, but at least you are not as directly complicit as somebody who is actually in the vehicle that kills her. But also, on the flip side, all of the people who have positive interactions with her, to make Allie not just someone you're reading about, but someone who, and not just someone who is important to these other people, but someone who is important to you as you are inhabiting this character. So to that degree, interactive fiction allows a level of participation that isn't really possible in a lot of other media. That's the story. The ending, it is what it is. So it's not as though I was sitting in my chair thinking, all right, so on the one hand, I could make it so that it's possible for the player to save Allie. On the other hand, I could make it so that it's impossible. What do I think would be the most effective? Never did anything like that, never even considered the possibility of coming up with some set of commands that would leave you happily ever after. And why not? Because that just wasn't the story. I didn't consider that any more than I would have considered anything else that would have been entirely random. When people ask, did you consider having an option in which the player could have saved Allie? It sort of feels like, did you consider having a guest appearance by the ghost of Adlai Stevenson or something? It's like, no, that's not the story. So